Welcome. This is the Carbon Black XDR Expert-led workshop, and my name is Chidera Amiko Okoli, and I'm a Solutions Engineering Manager here at Carbon Black. So advancing to the next slide here, on today's agenda, my clicker is not working, I just click next. On today's agenda, we will be starting with an introduction to your instructors, myself and Joshua, who's roaming around the room to help you guys out if you have any questions. We'll be introducing ourselves here shortly. Then we're going to go through an introduction of what Carbon Black XDR is. So this is just a brief overview from a marketing standpoint on what Carbon Black XDR is and the value that we're bringing to the market. And then I will talk about the lab experience, so what you'll be expecting to go through this lab. So the beginning phases of seeing what a malware or an attack would be like on your endpoints, through the phase of investigating and threat hunting it using Carbon Black XDR. Then we're going to go through the lab, instructor guided lab. I'll sit with you, walk through the lab with you guys, make myself available to answer any questions, concerns, or thought that you have. Myself as well as Josh, who will be roaming around the room, will be available to you guys for any questions that you guys may have. So, just by the way of introduction, like I said, my name is Chidera Amiko Okoli. I am a Specialist Solutions Engineering Manager here at Carbon Black. I have been with VMware over the last 5 years in different parts of the business. So Carbon Black is part of the NSBU Network and Security Business Unit. I used to be part of the NSX Business Unit. Now I am part of Carbon Black, so I've had exposure to different part of Carbon Black's Cloud Networking and Security Business Group. And for fun, I like to watch college football. I went to Texas A&M University, so I'm a big Aggie and SEC football fan. And I play pickup soccer for fun. All right, so I'll have Josh come up here and introduce himself.
Am I on? Okay.
You need to be on stage.
Yep. Hello. My name is Josh Knox. I'm a Senior Technical Marketing Architect for Carbon Black, and I have been with Carbon Black for a little under a year now. And before that, I was over in Tanzu doing Kubernetes for a couple of years, but now I've given all of that up in the name of security and to help you guys today.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Josh. So going into an introduction of what Carbon Black XDR is and what it has to offer, so understanding the what and the why of Carbon Black XDR. And we're talking about XDR today because remote work and hybrid work environments are still causing an increase in the sophistication and threats that we see today. So we simply can't be increasing the tools that a lot of SOC analysts and security analysts are using in their environments. And speaking of tools you guys use in your environment, how many people here are Carbon Black customers? Awesome, great, all right. How many people here are not Carbon Black customers? You use another EDR tool? Josh, can you roam around the room? I want to know, what other EDR tools are you guys utilizing in your environment today? Do we have any volunteers? I saw people raise their hands up. I'm going to call on someone. So I need volunteers now. He did, yeah, him. Over there, right there? Yeah, yes.
Yeah. I already have the Carbon Black, but is old version.
Okay.
5 years ago.
5 years ago.
But now we don't use it more.
Okay.
But I would like to buy and use the new version.
I love people like you. Great, you're welcome here. Who else? We had this gentleman in the very front here. Very front right here. Yeah, he said he's not a Carbon Black customer. I want to know why.
Yeah, with Tarrant County, and we're using Trellix currently.
Trellix, okay.
Yeah.
And how long have you been with Trellix?
Probably 2 years.
Okay. All right, and you're interested in learning more about what Carbon Black has to offer?
Yes, and XDR in general.
Awesome,
Yeah.
awesome. You're in the right spot. You are in the right spot. All right, so, well, in that case, hopping back to my slide that I have on here, a lot of SOC teams currently now, they deal with close to 50 tools in their environment, so going from EDR tools to network tabs to SIM tools and so on and so forth. And we find out most of our customers and most of these companies are already invested in at least 5 technologies. And they're leaving this analyst or this SOC analyst, this security analyst, they're overworked, which results in a lot of alert fatigue and configuration errors. And in fact, 95% of compromises that we see out within the security industry leverage the misconfiguration and misalignment of security controls. So the traditional approach to endpoint detection and network detection are no longer sufficient in today's evolving threat landscape. So many of our customers, like some of you guys here, you guys already have visibility into your endpoints, which is great. However, the threats are not only limited to your endpoints, right? And the main problem that customers still face is having blind spots, such as the lack of visibility into the network, the end user behavior, lack of visibility into your end user behavior, and this is going to leave your security team blind to more sophisticated types of attacks and threats that are being seen in your environment. And I can tell you that malicious actors are more than happy to exploit this blind spot, so evading detection and causing even significant damage to your environment. So to effectively respond to cyber attacks, what if in addition to endpoint telemetry, you are able to get the network and identity data all within the same console? So you'd be able to see more, you'd be able to expose more potentially malicious behaviors such as privilege escalation, suspicious DNS queries, or even maybe network data that reveals command and control traffic that otherwise might have been missed if you were just relying on traditional EDR tools with a secondary tool that would provide you network tap. The combination of endpoints, network, and user telemetry all integrated into one solution will give you even greater visibility and in turn lead to better security. And this is where Carbon Black XDR comes in. So our Carbon Black XDR solution is a solution that provides all the visibility that you would need in your environment. So using just one agent, one console on one platform, you're already familiar with, because I saw lots of hands here with Carbon Black customers on a platform that you guys are already familiar with, and the rest of you will be familiar with this console once you go through this lab. You will find that XDR eliminates the complexity of managing multiple tools, such as those legacy network tabs that I mentioned earlier, and instead is going to provide you an integrated solution that delivers complete visibility, accelerated incident and response, and improved overall security posture, all within a single pane of glass. So, when it comes to defining what XDR is, you guys, some of you are really familiar with what Carbon Black has to do with enterprise EDR with the endpoints. When it comes to defining what XDR is, many vendors have their own definition of what XDR means to them. In comparison to other said vendors, Carbon Black XDR is not a substitute for a SIM tool or a SOAR tool. Instead, we're more closely aligned to what Forrester defines XDR to be, which is that natural evolution of EDR. And since we were the pioneers of EDR, Carbon Black is taking XDR as the next logical phase in our evolution. And if you think about the value that EDR was providing, or the value proposition that EDR was giving to customers back then, it was that the more data you have, the more you can see, and therefore, the more you can stop. So XDR being the natural evolution of EDR means that we're collecting even more data, specifically identity intelligence, IDS observation, and network visibility. So this is going to enable the SOC team and the security analysts to enhance their visibility and response capabilities. So firstly, in our XDR solution, we've added identity intelligence. Now, with identity intelligence, this refers to the integration of user identities and access information into the threat detection and response process. So within the console that you guys are going to be familiar with here shortly, there's going to be a tab called on the investigate page dedicated to what we call auth events. So here you'll be able to search for suspicious authentication activities such as failed logins or multiple logon attempts within the console. And the newly authentication data will allow you to track the use of compromised credential. It's going to allow you to hunt for lateral movements. You're going to observe bursts of failed login attempts during brute force attacks that may be happening within your environment. And again, all this is from a single Carbon Black agent within a single Carbon Black console. So, Carbon Black has also extended its capabilities beyond EDR endpoint detection and response by incorporating IDS observation and network visibility. So this is done by natively integrating the last line micro IDS blade. So the last line micro IDS blade comes from our partnership with NXS, which is VMware's networking side of things. So we're able to pull in some of those networking capabilities from NSX now into the Carbon Black agent, which is the intrusion detection and response system. So within our Carbon Black agents, And our sensor, I believe, is the 3.9 sensor and above. We now have that integration of the last line micro IDS blade that's going to give you that network visibility of your endpoints. So this means that your sensors is now able to provide network data on your endpoints. So XDR is going to provide network visibility and IDS observation without requiring changes to your infrastructure and your endpoints. So those of you already familiar with Carbon Black, you know it's just one single agent to deploy out to those endpoints. So it's going to be still that single agent that's now going to give you additional telemetry about the networking activities that are going on your endpoints. It's going to transform your fleets of endpoints into distributed network sensors, and network telemetry is collected on the endpoints, helping to instantly identify malicious network behaviors that otherwise would have been missed if you were just relying on a traditional EDR tool. So in addition to network telemetry such as IP addresses, traffic directions, ports or protocols, we also provide TLS data, application protocol data, network fingerprints, and JAR3 signatures, as well as community IDs. Now, community IDs are important because we are an open system XDR. So what that means is that we can integrate with your existing security stack, and this is going to reduce the overall cost and complexity of your security infrastructure. We also record the amount of data that's been sent and received from those endpoints, making us one of the only few XDR products that show this. And this is very helpful for visibility to see how much data has been exfiltrated from your environment in case of a breach or any sort of ransomware kind of attack. We tie our network telemetry to processes, which again is something our partners and customers have highlighted that many of our competitors cannot do. And to wrap all this up here, we can see that with the Carbon Black XDR, you get one tool with many benefits. You're going to get the network connection and visibility from that single agent. You're going to be able to see more, giving you the ability to effectively threat hunt in your environment. It's user-centric event visibility, and it's an open system XDR. So you will be able to do more with less, and it's going to lead to increased productivity for you and your security team. I want to pause here and ask any questions. So far, so good? Awesome. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and get started with the lab. You guys, like I said, should be able to log into the Explore page. You should be able to see the lab pulled up right now and enrolled if you haven't enrolled, or you should see an enroll button for the Carbon Black XDR. Are we all at that stage? Yeah, hands up? Okay, all right, awesome. So for today's lab, the lab will be done in 3 phases. The first phase will be generate an attack, and the attack that I chose today for, at least for this lab, will be that of a phishing attack. So just a typical user getting an email, clicking on a phishing link, downloading something, a malicious payload, encrypting their device. So you're going to generate that attack. There will be steps that's going to walk you through how to generate that phishing email, click on it, and you will wear a hat as the victim. So the victim who received that email and clicked on that malicious Marcos and then enabled it and have your endpoint infected. And from there, you're going to go threat hunting with XDR. So you wear the hat of a security analyst and then, okay, start to investigate. How did this attack come into my environment? Where can I find it? What other processes and information ran alongside this particular attack? Just give you that full visibility, not only from the network, the endpoint side of things, but also the network telemetry involved with that particular attack. And looking at the lab is broken down into 9 parts, so all the way from the introduction to the conclusion. So the introduction is going to give you a high-level written overview of what Carbon Black XDR is. It's going to walk you through accessing the environment. So as you're logged into the lab, there's going to be an arrow that you can click through and step through the instruction manual. All the instructions you need and the steps you need are in the manual, but if there's any confusion, please raise your hand up. When I wrote this manual, I may have written it for myself like I was taking it, but obviously you guys are not Carbon Black experts, so there may be some confusion. So please feel free to raise your hand, and myself or Josh should be able to assist you out with that. You will go through generating an attack. Like I said, it will be a malicious payload. Mostly it's a phishing email. So you'll go through that, load it up from your desktop into your Outlook email. And when you log into Outlook, please do not sign in with your company email. It's a dummy account. You don't need to sign in with your company email. Just follow the steps. It's a default account. Don't sign in using your own personal account. So, yeah. You're going to wear a hat as a victim. Like I said, you're going to step through it, click on the malicious email, download the malicious payload, and it's going to encrypt and pop up the prompts that you've been infected and so on and so forth. Then you wear a hat as a security analyst. You log into the Carbon Black Cloud console, go through the alerts page, look at the triage. It's going to show you a visual breakdown of how the attack came in on that endpoint and the steps that that particular attack took to proliferate around your environment. And yeah, there will be additional resources should you guys decide to look more into Carbon Black, and then a conclusion. But with that said, we can go ahead and get started with the lab. And as you guys go through this, I'll be here with the guides left open. I'll be available to answer questions. So about halfway through, I would start to go through the lab up here and answer questions and explain to you what the process and why we're doing what we're doing is, so you guys can understand and follow along with me. So I have logged into my own version of the Explore lab catalog, and going through this, page 1 talks about the experience, what this experience is about. We're going to skip through this. It has a video explaining what Carbon Black XDR is and our product offering, the differentiator that we bring to the market. Stepping through this introduction to Carbon Black, this is going to be a written format of the spiel I gave earlier during the presentation. Stepping through accessing the environment, this talks about accessing the Carbon Black Cloud VDI desktop. Click go, I already did all that. I was able to drop down to pull my credentials here and log into the environment. Close that up. Access the Carbon Black XDR VDI Horizon desktop, and now I am in that landing page. So that's where I'm at. Stepping through here. Overview threat hunting with Carbon Black XDR. Now this breaks down what threat hunting is, what Carbon Black XDR is, and what the key difference between threat hunting and incident response is. So incident response is more after the fact, so you're responding to a breach in your environment, whereas threat hunting is more proactive. You're actively trying to stay on top of any threats or potential vulnerabilities that may be in your environment. So we're going to talk about generating the attack and the attack stages. So the attack, like I said earlier, is going to be that of a phishing email. So the attacker has been doing reconnaissance of a user in your organization over social media and using publicly available information and so on and so forth. So this attack is going to be that from a fake coupon website. So we're going to go through that and see what it looks like. We're going to wear a hat as the victim, step through the attack, and eventually we're going to see what's actually happening on that endpoint. So this right here breaks down the attack from an internal to the attacker's infrastructure to where the code is being pulled from. So we can see right here, number 1 is the phishing email is being sent. The user clicks on it, it sends a malicious connection to an external site, c3freecoupons.com, and from there it establishes access to a command and control server, so where a malicious actor is able to take hold of your machine and try to remotely control those machines. So from there we can see lateral movement using WinRM to a second machine, victim 2's machine, and also victim 2's machine is setting up that external connection outbound to that same command and control. So you can see where they accessed one machine, made another connection to a second machine, and now the malicious actor is trying to control both machines, also trying to expand its footprint within your environment. And as we can see here from number 6, it's also trying to access Active Directory to get a password spray of a lot of our user credentials and password information within our environment. Scrolling through here, I do want to call out that none of these actions you guys are experiencing in the lab would be possible due to the policies that Carbon Black has in place, but a lot of those policies have been turned off just so you guys can get a first-hand experience of what this what this attack would be like if you didn't have Carbon Black XDR protection in your environment. So, what's visible to the victim? The victim is going to see an email attachment with a Word document in there. The email comes from a legitimate domain, and the Word document obviously is not going to look suspicious. If it looks suspicious, you're not going to click on it. But it's made to look real, it's made to look like any other Word document, any other email with a Word document attachment. And after opening the Word document and enabling the content, Google Chrome is going to open with a coupon website, and a text file is going to open in the notepad telling you that, hey, you got a free coupon, and so on and so forth. And while all this is happening, all network connections were made over legitimate protocols. So this is going to look like a legitimate action that if you don't know otherwise, you would not know what to look for. And if you don't have the right tools like Carbon Black XDR, you would not even know where to start to begin your threat hunting. So I also list out what's happening on the victim's endpoint. So as you go through this slide, please be sure to pay attention to that so you understand the nuances of what's going on during this particular attack. And I do want to call out that all this telemetry data is captured by the Carbon Black Cloud agent, so you're able to view this within the console on the alerts page if anything malicious is being observed, or within the investigate page for all benign activities, whether or not it's related to an alert or not. So, where they had as a victim, let's see the lab instructions here. We're just an overview. We're going to set up Outlook without an email account. Remember earlier I said do not set up an email account. Do not tie your email account to this. You're going to open and export. Under files, open and export. So you're going to import from programs that file. There's a .pst file which is going to load the malicious phishing email. And from there, you're going to open up the Word document that has attached that came from Jeremy Jones. Jeremy Jones works at your company, so it looks like something legitimate, but it's not. So we're going to step through that attack as a victim. And if you hit the next button on page 22, it does have the steps called out. So I know some of you are stuck on page 21, but if you do hit the next page on page 22, it starts to list out all the instructions that you need for this. So it says click the Outlook No Account. Let's go ahead and open that. So all right, have that open. After that, we're going to do the open and import and export. So under files, open and export, import/export. I'm already skipping ahead. Let me follow along. So import and /export. Next, it says import from another program or file. We're going to hit next. Next here, Outlook data file.pst. Next. Next. Browse. So we're going to do C. And we're gonna, so you cannot okay, next. We're going to finish. And if I go into my inbox, we've loaded it, and yep, we see the free coupon. We're gonna click on that email. We see the Word document, I clicked on that. And we're gonna go ahead and enable editing. And now we're gonna enable content. So enabling content is what pushes that malicious file onto our endpoint. And it says Google Chrome is gonna open here shortly with a notepad. And it may take a minute depending on the network connection that we're currently experiencing today. So if you don't see the notepad open right away, you can go ahead and step through the rest of the labs. It is gonna open eventually. So yep, we got the free coupon website, and we're gonna get the notepad here. Yep, so we did get the notepad, free coupon notepad. It says you've won a coupon for life. Oh, lucky me. All right, so stepping through here, we're gonna wear the hat as the SOC analyst, as the security analyst, and now we're gonna investigate what happened during this particular attack, right? And in this section, stepping through, it says log into the Carbon Black Cloud console. We're gonna go ahead and there should be a Word document on the desktop. So if we go to the desktop, we can see, not that desktop. I mean, a notepad, not a Word document. mind, it's taking a bit of time to load. But part of the instruction said to make note of the TestDrive Windows VDI that you're logged into and the IP name. So to do that, we're going to go over to the search bar right here, CMD, type in the command line, have the command prompt open, we'll type, what's the instruction here, say, system info, so my host name is CB10XDR box 20, and my IP address is also listed on here. Okay, all right, awesome. So I have that. If Google Chrome will cooperate with me today. So defense. So we're gonna go to the Carbon Black Cloud console, and if we minimize this, there is a notepad on the desktop here that lists out the user credentials and password information that we need to log in. So if we go back here, we can see it being called out here. So I'm just gonna pause my screen here for a second while I log in. So now I'm in the Carbon Black Cloud console, and you guys probably are at or past this phase already. And when you come in here with under the alerts page, I am going to filter by my endpoints. Remember, I looked up my endpoints information, the host name earlier, and we saw it's CBW10XDR-20. And on the left-hand side of the alert screen, we do have abilities for you to filter by certain workflows. So if we select the devices here, and I try to filter by my own device, CBW10XDR-20. But are you guys able to see the alerts generated from your endpoints and able to step through the alerts? Okay, so all right, awesome, that's great. So I guess it's just my own endpoints that's not showing up as of yet. In that case, I'll let you guys step through the rest of your tag. And if you have any questions or clarifications that I can provide, please do let me know.